Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good day, wherever you're at. I'm going to be showcasing our Lowry Symphony. I know some of you may have seen and heard this over the last 6 months or so since February. And what I wanted to do is kind of play it a little bit differently today for the simple fact that we are to the point now where we hardly have any symphonies available. In fact, I think you're looking at the very last one in Arizona, and rumor is there might even be one in Florida. And we're using these, we're trying to hang on to them so we can continually service our students and do some instruction, what have you. So I figured before they vanish from our existence, I threw a nice little last show on it and do some extra little things here and have some fun with some music on it and maybe even show some things that maybe you haven't seen or heard before in the past. So I'll open up with the typical, with a little tweak, and we'll have some fun here. We'll start off with Cabaret, and I'll use the music so I don't miss anything, and I'll turn it into a medley. I love this style because you can play so many other fun things with it. Here we go. Why, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that. A little virtual applause is great. I want to see, I might switch to my gallery mode and keep an eye on you. Hope you're having a good time this morning on the first opening number. But before I go any further, I do want to share something about the symphony because as I was going through the crowd, there's actually some folks that I know that aren't familiar what the symphony is. And so I want to give a little backstory on it and then continue. And I'm going to try to shorten my original story because it's very lengthy. But in short, what happened nearly 2 years ago was Kawhi made the decision to exit the organ business and stop making Lowry organs. And it left us in a year and a half or so of kind of really just making it a little bit challenging, trying to keep our inventory levels at where they need to be. And at the time when that happened, the instrument called the Lowry Aria was the flagship model. And what was great about that model was, well, for us, it was great because it was a very expensive organ. But, when we sold one, it really helped out our business side of things. But what it also did was something other than an immediate sale, and that was it produced a trade. And typically, when we sold an Aria, the most common models that we took in on trade was a Marquis, occasionally a Grand Marquis. There weren't many of those around. And then occasionally in a Liberty or somewhere there. But it was a little bit pricey for those who had those models. So what happened was we'd sell an Aria, and more than likely we got a Marquis on trade. Well, that's great because then we'd have a pre-owned marquee available. And that really did wonders for those that have always wanted a marquee, but it was maybe a little out of the price range, and there was a pre-owned one. Well, when Lowry exited the business, what happened is as arias vanished and we had marquees, we sold through those as long as we could, had them available. And when the marquees went away, when we sold marquees, guess what we took in on trade? Patriots and Sterlings. And that was nice because then it's almost like replenishing our inventory. Well, as marquees went away, we can no longer take those instruments on trade, making it difficult to sustain the high-end business as we were introducing people as always. So back in January, John Riley, Fletcher Music Centers, approached Bill Curry, who we hired to design and program our new Esty models that as you see now. And why Bill Curry? Well, he's the one that programmed basically the marquees, the arias, the Grand Marquis, Sterlings, Patriots, Stardust, you name it, for the last 20 some odd 30 years, and what better person. And we approached him, and at first we thought it was going to be an easy answer, but it wasn't. And the question was, we had at the time, this was in January, we had a nice quantity of inventory of instruments of Sterlings and Patriots. That platform that a lot of people loved, had it for many years in some cases, and what have you. Or someone went from a Sterling to a Patriot, and they got used to that panel. And we asked them just on a whim, is there a way you could do this? And the question was, we'd like to take this platform that we have, because we don't have marquees, and we would like you to do your magic, as we called it. Bill doesn't call it magic, he calls it a mental workout. And we'd like you to, is there a way to take some of the best features and sounds from the marquee and the aria and put it using our platform? It took him about a week because he had to get together with another engineer, and there's memory issues, there's computing issues, there's all sorts of things, hardware, software, you name it. And after long story long, the answer was yes, and we introduced it in February with a certain program. We paid a handsome fee, obviously, to get this done and so forth. And then we sold nearly all of them with the exception of maybe a handful. And then, as you know, the pandemic came around, shut us down. We reopened. We went through a majority of this remaining stock. And now here we are today, August 13th, and we're literally down to our last two in the world that we could have. And that's why I decided to do the show. So for those of you who don't know that story, because I know there's a few people who aren't familiar with that, that's how this instrument came to be. And I know some of you actually have the Symphony, so hopefully you're enjoying it and you'll learn some stuff today. Inez, I'm going to quiz you afterwards, so you better pay attention. And what happened was, and I think we'll have what Sean will do. I lied, Sean. I'm going to ask you to put the slide. There's a slide in there that says some of the best features and the sounds. What we wanted to accomplish was having some of the best sounds, the best feature, and you're going to hear me say the best of the best. And by the way, you'll notice it says limited edition for the obvious reasons. But when we're talking about rhythm styles, I opened up with a style called cab array. And that style originated on the Lowry Marquis. And it was a signature style that many people love. Now, I chose that style because I played the song that it was designed for, but then I also played a totally different song. So these styles were very strategically chosen to give you a style that most people would enjoy playing in the song, but said, I want to play something else. It's very diverse. And there are, and you see there, it says the best styles, the best presets, the best sound system. And I'm going to talk about presets in a little bit and the sound system in a little bit, and I'll explain that why. But, now check this out. The question that I had some people when I talk about the symphonies, how many styles does it really have? Well, let me tell you this, folks. They took 35 styles above and beyond the Patriot from the marquee and aria, and you'll see there's a list of all the styles, and I'm not going to be able to play them all today, but just look, there's the cabaret, they're listed in alphabetical. You Don't Know Me, that's from the aria. Sweet Carolina, that was from the marquee. The Christmas song is from the aria. You have Mr. Go-Go, that was actually introduced on the Liberty. Moonstream was from the marquee. You have Oscar Swing from the aria. You might hear me say the word aria a few times, the most expensive home organ in the world, and somehow he magically found a way to put it on there, and I'll explain that in just a little bit. Now, I said 35 new styles above and beyond the Patriot. If you happen to have a Sterling, that's an additional 26. So that number is actually 51. So enough talk about that. Since I'm talking about styles, I thought I'd have some fun featuring one of my favorite new styles on here. And this one actually came from directly from the aria. And I don't know if you know the name Ray Charles by chance. Your parents may have told you who that famous artist was. What's interesting about Ray Charles and his music is his music was really timeless, because still today you hear his songs, and even the young generation still knows those his songs and his music. And this style here was, I can't tell you how many times over the last few months I featured this style in some of the classes and the song in the classes, and I can't tell you how many. I wasn't surprised, but I was surprised at how many, I guess. Everyone I've spoken to said, I love that style, I love that song, and I'm not going to play any other fancy medley, but I'm going to play the song that it's designed for. Now, this is what's cool. The aria, what made the aria so special was that the new styles that were introduced on that model were what's called real styles. A real style means they named the song exactly as the title. That means they paid little royalties to do it, where in the past they danced around that. And the note for note, the introductions, the setups, everything works perfectly for that song. So I'm going to feature You Don't Know Me, which is a classic triplets. Works great with Wonderful World, if you want to play songs like that. Can't Help Falling in Love, but if you simply play You Don't Know Me, it's the perfect arrangement. You have Ray Charles with his band, and you're going to also hear his classic piano sound. Here we go. Virtual applause, please. I'm looking at you on my screen. That's just a phenomenal style, and I've not met one person who says, I don't like that style. Everyone simply loves that. It's so diverse. It's got so many wonderful um, songs you could play with, plus the song that the real style that it was. Now, go on the country side of things here a little bit. And some of you may know a couple of years ago we had um, we lost a musician that was near and dear to many hearts, produced a lot of great hits. And this style, actually, I featured one of the classes. What I love about the song is when you hear the song and you hear the arrangement and you hear him singing the song and what have you, most people are surprised when they see the music and go, oh, is it really that simple? And yes, it is that simple. And the song is in the key of C, which I love. And notice when I'm playing here. Now, if you're a three-finger player, a chord player, you could still play it the way you want. But I'm going to show this like if I was a two-finger player, I can sound magnificent using this style or any of the styles and the sounds that you're hearing today. And the artist who wrote the song and performed it, you may know his name was Glenn Campbell. Do you know Glenn Campbell? Might be a little bit before your time, Shirley, but if your mom told you who Glenn Campbell was, he wrote some really great songs that people loved. And this one here, when I'm playing the key of C here, you're going to notice I'm not doing much in my right hand here. So here we go. And the style is called Mr. Gentle Mind. The song I'm going to play is, obviously, Gentle on My Mind. Oh, thank you. Hold the applause, really. Wow, is that all of you doing that? Wow. It's amazing when we get a bunch of people on how we can make that sound. Now, earlier you saw on the screen, Sean had on the screen best sounds, best presets, best more styles, and what have you. One of them was the presets. Now, over the years, Lowry has done a phenomenal job at giving us great new styles, great new sound system, and amazingly new, great new presets. And this is pretty interesting because on the Aria, they reserved some of the best presets for that model. And a lot of the artists that you may have remembered that we've had at Fletcher Music Centers were involved in some of those. So some of you know Dennis Awe. Some of you know Jim Wida, who played two parts. He was an artist as well as the vice president of sales. Some of you know Jim Vogelman. Jim Vogelman is considered one of the best in the world as far as his arrangements and his sounds and presets. And so it's no secret that they commissioned him many times on some of the models, the high-end models, to put his presets. And the presets you're going to hear today are Jim Vogelman's creations. And this category preset was introduced, and it's one of the flagship models setups. And this features some of the sounds that you would hear on the marquee and the aria. It's called Love Songs, and I have to tell you, these sounds I have not heard, with the exception of the marquee and the aria, I've not heard any other instrument have these sounds in the setups. And so You're going to hear, I'm just going to simply go to category presets, love songs. I'll start off with some of the love vocals. You're going to hear this ballad flute with just the right amount of air, as if they were sitting right here with this flute. Kenny G, I think, played an alto saxophone, if I'm not mistaken. He played a saxophone, right? Oh, soprano. They have his, well, it says Kenny G in there. And then I also see one in here called the alto saxophone that I absolutely love, because an alto saxophone to me is that, it's that sweet spot in the range. When you hear that, you're going to hear that sound. And then we have 101 strings orchestra that you're going to hear. All of these sounds are just gorgeous. So sit back and listen and enjoy. Isn't that beautiful? Some gorgeous tones in there. I only got to play 3 or 4 of those presets. I wanted to go, I want to play that one, I want to play that, I want to play one. But there's so many gorgeous sounds, so hopefully someday you'll be able to enjoy those sounds. Now, coming back to some of the best styles and rhythms. One of the things that I mentioned earlier was how challenging it was to put the instrument programming in the instrument and what have you. And there's many factors involved in that. One of those is memory. Now, you know, in the computing world, the more memory something has, the faster it can do things, the more it can do, et cetera, et cetera. And that became one of the biggest challenges, because when you're talking about an aria, you're talking about 16 microprocessors, et cetera, and then some, I think. And it allows them to do all the stuff. So to try to get from an aria and to get that same information into here was a challenge, and he pulled it off. So a lot of these styles, you're going to notice they do a lot more than your typical. Now here's the, for example. Some of you are familiar with you might be familiar with an artist by the name of Petula Clark. And she had a few hit songs. I think I heard Dawn sing one at one point, maybe. I've heard her sing a few songs. Maybe I'm getting them mixed up. But Petula Clark had a hit song called Downtown. And it was a great song, great hit. And if you put on a rhythm style, what typically happens if you use the fill-in, you don't tend to hold that fill-in down for too long. Because what happens is you run into the dreaded monotony of the fill-in. So for example, if I put on this style here that a lot of you are familiar with, and you listen to the fill-in, while that's a great style, it's not designed to hold the fill-in down for more than maybe 4, maybe 8 measures tops. Well, what made the aria and the marquee was that if you held the fill-in down on a lot of these styles for a length of time, it'll do a fill-in and then transform into another pattern, allowing you to play an entire song with having not just a few measures that the style loops, but the entire style will play, in some cases, 32 up to 64 measures. Now, here's an example. Here's the song in Easy Play, Downtown. Front page, back page. We have 1, 2, 3, looks like 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 10, 27, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, somewhere in the neighborhood of 24 measures or so, give or take, okay? You'll notice that I put a little asterisk right there. Where is it? Right there. Just as a little note to myself that when I get to that point, I'm going to just hold the fill-in down, and I'm going to hold the fill-in down for the entire rest of the song. Most people wouldn't hold the fill-in down that long. You'd hold it for just a measure or two. So I'm going to hold the fill-in down, and what's going to happen, you'll hear slightly the fill, and then it'll change into a whole different arrangement, just like that song did originally. All right, you ready? I'm going to show a couple examples today. This is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you. Hold the applause. So as I was doing that whole second half of the song, I was doing nothing but holding down the fill-in. And most people don't even realize that I'm doing a fill-in. And it just creates a whole different rhythm pattern. Now, coming back to the aria, there were many styles that were introduced in the aria that many loved. You heard one of them so far. Another one, a little bit on the slower side, that I really like to introduce, which really doesn't get featured a lot in a symphony demonstration, probably because it's a much slower style, and sometimes we want to keep things moving. But I think it's fitting that I play the style only because it's a style. A lot of people love to play upbeat songs, of course, but there's a lot of people like to play some ballads from time to time. And to me, you can never have enough ballad styles. I love songs like Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Somewhere Out There, Memory from Cats, you name it, Unchained Melody. And depending on the model, sometimes I avoid playing those songs because I get stuck having to use the same styles. Well, this style here that I'm going to feature, you can use it for many ballads. But if you play the song that it's named after, it works perfectly for that too. And this is kind of inspired by Barbra Streisand. If you know the name Barbra Streisand. Gary, you know who Barbra Streisand is? Okay, good answer. And the style is called The Way We Were. The name of the song is called
We were.
Good Answer. You're good at this, and you don't even have one of these. So I'm going to just simply touch The Way We Were and do a nice little introduction here. And in fact, let me get my music for this. Let's just hope that it's in the key that I want to play it in. Oh, whew. Key of C, thank goodness. You throw a key of G in there, that's where it gets a little sketchy. So here we go. Just a gorgeous style, isn't it? You can play. And as I was playing that, I was tempted to go, oh, I can start playing another song, but I've got some more styles I got to showcase and have some fun with here. Now, speaking of styles that can do more in the fill-ins, I featured this style a few times, and I'm going to do it again, but this time I'm going to do a little bit different because I'm going to play a few different other songs with it to really showcase the styling of this musician. The musician's name is Oscar Peterson. Now, some people know the name, some people don't. And what was great about his styling was he could basically take any standard, any swing, and just really make it appealing and well-loved. And this, again, is another one of those styles that if you hold the fill-in down, and this, again, came from the Lowrey aria, most expensive organ in the world. And I'm going to play a little bit, but in the introduction, you're going to notice some of Oscar Peterson's fills. And then as I'm playing, I'll use some of the fill-ins. But at some point, and I'll make a mention of it, I'll use a fill-in. You'll hear his fancy fills that he normally does. However, and then I'm going to hold it, and then it becomes a whole totally different rhythm pattern that you can play with virtually anything you want in this style of music. So this is Oscar Peterson, and again, I'll point it out. Now, what made his styling, too, by the way, was as busy he can get in some of his fills, he always knew when to taper it back and make it so that it wasn't busy all the time. So you'll see when you hear this, Oscar swing style straight from the Lowry aria. Just nice and subtle. Now watch the fill-ins. And if you hold it down a little longer, every fill is a little bit different. Now here we go. I'm going to just turn it down just a hair. Listen to the fill-in. Okay. Without the fill-in. Now this time I'm going to bring the fill-in in and then continue to hold it. Watch what happens after a couple measures. Thank you. Hold the applause. That's so much fun. The styles there. Now, I mentioned there was more than one set of presets going on in here that we took. And if you like some of the symphonic sounds, you're going to love this. And I always thought it was fitting that I'm playing an instrument called the Symphony, that I would feature some of the new symphonic sounds. And this is a lot of fun. You're going to hear some new cellos, some new strings, some bassoons, pizzicata strings that were great on models to me over the years, since about the year 2001. Lowry's done a pretty good job at making those instruments sound better and better over the course of the years. Where they perfected it was the Lowry aria. And somehow Bill managed to get that same experience on the Lowry Symphony. Now that to me is just even saying that, it's just we did this back in February for the first time. I feel like I'm back in February introducing this for the very first time, going, how in the heck did he do this? And sometimes just hearing is believing. So here are some of my new symphony sounds. And the first one I'm going to start off with is the sound of a cello. And what's great about these sounds, and I should point it out when it happens, but I get so caught up in playing the music. But real instruments, when you hear actual instruments, in other words, if someone was 10 feet away from you, they'd have to be these days at least 6 feet, right? But normally they wouldn't be that close to you with a musical instrument. But you know, if they were about 10 feet away, you were listening to someone play a guitar, or a flute, saxophone, cello, whatever sound it is, regardless, you know, where you're at. If you were in the same room listening to these, if you actually hear those instruments, there's a certain thing that it gives it the character of those sounds. Sometimes it's the slight imperfection of the way the flute player plays in the flute, and they blow a little extra breath to give it this, what we call like an overtone. And we don't say, oh, that's really bad. No, if you like the sound of the flute, you want those slight imperfections that give it that characteristic of that sound. A guitar player, being a guitar player, when I hear a guitar, I like some of those effects where they're playing and you can kind of hear where there's a little bit of imperfection on holding the fret sounds in certain places. That's what makes those instruments. I'm going to start off with, in this case, the cello, which I've always loved, but I've never loved it on every model. And some models over the years, Lowry and its competitors either got it right or they didn't. And the symphonic sounds, the big symphony strings, to me, you either got to get it right or, you know, don't do it. And they did it on the aria, and of course Bill found a way to bring it here. So you're going to, and a bassoon, that is an instrument. If it's not right, it doesn't work. The pizzicato strings, et cetera, et cetera. So, and one of the sounds that I really love in here, you'll know when it comes. There's a combination of a symphonic string orchestra with a choir, that the blend and the harmony. And if you were in my class today or yesterday, this is where I'm using harmonies on a couple of these settings because I dare not try to do some of the settings that these harmonies will do for me. So sit back and enjoy. We're going to do a little bit of a musical using some of these symphonic sounds. Here we go. We'll start off with the cello. Now listen to the cello. Listen how some of the notes resonate a little differently. So if you hear those notes, some come in stronger than the others. That's like a lifelike cello. Oh, I hope you enjoyed that. If you could see my face while I was playing it, I was just. You ever play a song and you're just so immersed in it, you forget every. I almost forgot you guys were there, and I was like, oh, I better stop and turn around and say something. Just those sounds. Now, that is the workmanship and musicianship and creativity and mastery of Jim Vogelman. And those are just some of the presets. But I got some more styles and fun things to play for you, um, because I can't stop playing some of these styles. Now, I'm going to go back in time a little bit. Some of you may have heard the name um, Nat King Cole. Are you familiar with that person too? Shirley? You look like you're thinking about it. It was a little bit before your time, I know. Gary's before. Reverend Nat King Cole played some great music, in case you're wondering who that was. He had some timeless hits, Unforgettable, Route 66, you name it. And one song that he did as an arrangement was the Christmas song. And it's just kind of one of those songs that many people have done over the years. I have a theory that when an artist or band or musician that they've kind of made their way in the musical world, universe, that if they're kind of looking for some extra money, they put out a Christmas album. And then they say, we've got to do this song because everybody will buy it. There's always like a handful of songs that they always do. And thankfully, every version I've heard of this song, I've not heard a bad one. But I'll tell you, when Lowry chose Nat King Cole's version, they did right by that song and by him, because they took his exact arrangement with his orchestra. And I love featuring this style no matter what. I'll do it over and over and over and over and over, because I did a class earlier. Inez, you were in the class today, and I think a couple others were, where we were talking about song setups and how some people may avoid a Christmas song setup simply because it's not that time of the year yet, not knowing that, hey, if I use it, I could play other songs with it. Well, the Christmas song, which I'm going to use, key of C, okay, is a song and a style. This again came directly from the Lowry aria. And when you hear this, I'm going to let you hear it two ways. Because if you don't want to play the Christmas song all year long, that's okay. This style works year round with all those great standards. In fact, what I typically do is I play the Christmas song first, and then I show you how it works with another song. I'm going to do it in reverse today. So I'm going to put the style called the Christmas song. The name of the song is the Christmas song, but instead of playing the Christmas song, I'm going to play a great standard. It'll come to me the minute I play. And then I'll do it again, showing you the way it was originally done, straight from the aria. So here's the Christmas song, great for throughout the year, playing all your great standards first. Now, take that same style, and you can imagine I played Moonglow earlier. That works great for that. Misty, Mood Indigo, Moonglow, Moonlight Serenade, you name it. A lot of moons. Now I'm going to put on the same style and play the Christmas song, but this time I'm going to use the intro one. And this arrangement is the exact, it's like somehow we magically got Nat King Cole's orchestra and we put it right here in front of me. And listen to what's great about this is in the beginning, I call them the swooning strings. Just like in the introduction of the song, they swoop up, and the fill-ins are all done automatically. Listen. Isn't that absolutely amazing? Some of those rhythm styles that they're so diverse, and if you play the songs that are named after, it's absolutely perfect. I'm just, whew, I haven't played a symphony in a while. I haven't had one. So if you're wondering why I'm so excited, have it as long as I can. Now, another signature style directly from the marquee. Now, if you notice, I've been saying that a lot today. Marquee, aria, grand marquee. And this is a style that I've used before, but I want to use it a little bit differently today. And the style is called Got Swing, question mark. All right. Now, think about the song, I've Got the World on a String. What crooners in the past have we heard, I've Got the World on a String? The first one that came to mind is I've heard Frank Sinatra do it. Maybe even Dean Martin, I think, did it once. A lot of those great crooners. And they're all great arrangements. But when Lowry introduced this on the marquee, they wanted to do it, they wanted to appeal to all generations. And so what they did was absolutely magnificent. They took Michael Bublé's arrangement of I've Got the World on a String. And what's great about his arrangement is it's very classic in nature in that there's no synthesizers and things like that. It's like a good old classic big band orchestra with his new flavor big band type arrangement. And in the beginning of this introduction, you're going to actually hear the same introduction that he did in his recording. And I remember when I saw this on YouTube, the band members say, hey, Michael, come out, let's swing, let's play. You're going to hear those voices that Bill Curry put in here. And that was on the marquee, and somehow he magically, I think he's a magician more than just a musician, or a little bit of both. And he put that in here. And then, I'm going to just show you, because, you know, I still love playing some of those old classics. This is a style that you can play with any big band song. And this is one of those, I have a little bit of, many of you, when you hear me play, I love playing the big band classics and what have you. But sometimes it gets a little tiresome using the same style. This kind of just revitalizes that. So here we go. We'll start off with I've Got the World on a String, and then we'll switch it up a little bit partway through. I'm having fun. I hope you are. Now, I've got to go back to a time where I can always ask Jerome this question because I keep forgetting. But this is a great, this style actually was introduced again on one of the flagship models. But the song I'm going to play, just to kind of give you a hint, is called My Girl. Now, if I remember correctly, My Girl was it the Temptations? No? Anybody? Anybody know? Was it the same group that did Under the Boardwalk? I guess you say. You're all looking at me.
That would be the Drifters, Robert.
Drifters, that's what it was. That's what I said, the Drifters. Isn't that what I said? Go along with me, Sean. So, when you hear this, this is what a lot of people don't know is that you can use this style for other songs, though. So when I use it, I actually play a totally different song. Here we go. I picked the wrong button. You ever push the wrong button on the instrument? None of you do that? And as I'm looking through all some of these styles, I wasn't going to play these, but I've got to do it. We'll go back in time again to another great musician, Mr. Bobby Darin. And he had a great hit song that some of you may know. He had a lot of great hit songs. And one of my favorite ones was, I just lost it. Here we go. Beyond a Sea. Listen. Oh, gosh. I can be here all day, all day. Well, I'm going to play one more for you here in a minute. But first, I'm just looking around. Did you enjoy your time today? Yes? Just a shake of a nod. Okay, a little Shirley. I'll take a little applause. All right. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Inez. I got one more fun number we're going to do here for you. Before I do, I want to share a little bit of a kind of an interesting, what could be an opportunity. And I think it's actually more than just an opportunity because we have a kind of a unique situation. If I sold 5 symphonies today, I would be able to deliver 5 because we don't have. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the one in Florida got sold today, and that leaves just one that I'm using for as many workshops and educational offerings and what have you. But pay very close attention because, you know, last week we introduced one of our largest liquidation sales in history. The downside is that really didn't apply to symphonies because, well, we don't really have them. And in talking with John, I learned that over, let's see, the symphony was introduced in February, March, April, May, June, July, August, 6 months. Here's what I've discovered about the symphony from our students. People either purchased them, they love them, or we have a bunch of students that wish they can own a symphony. But for some reason, either couldn't afford it or timing was right or whatever the case may be. So after much work and effort, John and I came up with a very rare, and pay very close attention to this, a very rare, unique, and literally a one-time opportunity. And here's what we're going to do. The way, and to simplify it, the best case scenario is someone purchases a symphony, we take their trade-in, we bring it in, and we deliver a symphony. Well, we don't have a symphony. So what we've discovered, and through much effort, and I'm going to give you the short version, is that we have three, I guess the best way to explain it is conversion kits, software, hardware, what have you, that would allow us to take a person's, if you have a Sterling or Patriot, it only applies to Sterling and Patriot owners. So if you happen to have a Sterling or Patriot, I know what some of you have, I don't know what you all have, and it allows us for only 3 people, we only have 3 conversions that we have left to do this with, that we can actually take your organ, bring it in, either I do them personally in Arizona, and in Florida, they do them in Florida. And that's a total of 3. So I think I'd have to get the conversion kit out here. But what that would mean is we would take your instrument, bring it in, and it would take a few days, of course. We have a couple students we've done this for, just simply because of our lack of supply. And we're down to 3, where we could actually take your instrument, bring it in, do the full conversion, and after about 3 or 4 days of effort, bring it back out. And essentially what you get is your organ and then a symphony on top of it. And here's the best part, because what a lot of people don't realize is that actually costs us a little bit more money in the typical scenario. We are actually allowing some of our opportunities in pricing and discounts that we would take from other models and apply it to these opportunities. So if you happen to have a Sterling or Patriot that you just absolutely love, sometimes it's because I love the cabinet, my cabinet. You may have a cherry or I have an oak. It just feels like it's mine. I know it, it works, et cetera, et cetera. We can take your instrument, bring it in, do a full conversion, and then bring it out. The caveat is I only have 3 that I can do this with. So what I've encouraged and insisted upon with the salespeople is to reach out to you and to share that opportunity with you, because what I can tell you is if you like and see what you heard today, you're also going to like the opportunity they share with you. So that is my little opportunity talk. I hope you enjoyed the show today. I hope you enjoyed what I offered today and what I've showed you. And I'm going to finish off with a little bit of Broadway music for you, something really just upbeat and fun. I very rarely showcase this style. I was inspired by it when I heard Joni play it recently in one of her concerts, and it's just a nice upbeat style that you can use. Again, thank you very much. Now, there is one more other thing I forgot, and this is a little, just a token of my appreciation. Sean, I don't know if you're there. I could actually do this. Can you type in the chat,
Sure.
while I'm pulling this up, my email address?
Okay. How do you spell Roman?
R is in Robert.
There we go.
O. Okay. Now you should all have it because the email that I sent you um, that had the link for today's presentation that comes from my email. But if you email me, I just say, please send me the Symphony songbook. What I'm going to do is you saw me using a couple books today. I have a copy of that book, and you're looking at it on the screen. Here are all the new styles. I only got to play about a third, if that, and you'll see that they're all in easy play, and I will reply to you with, oh, I didn't play that one yet. That's fun. I won't have time to do them. And I will email you a copy of the songbook to your email address. And it'd be kind of my saying thank you of attending my event and sticking with me and dealing with my jokes. There's Key of F, all simple songs. There are 35 songs in this songbook. And all you have to do is reply to my email from the link that I sent you today and just put, please send me the Symphony songbook, and you'll get that songbook. I'll reply with just simply attaching it to you. And then you can print out the songs that you want to play and what have you. So he also put it in the chat. So if you don't have the email, it's in the chat there, I think. And if you can remember this, it's pretty simple. It's rroman@fletchermusic.com. But the easiest way is just to reply to the email that I sent you today for the link. So with that said, I want to make 3 very happy students today. I'm looking, I didn't realize, but there's over 28 people on, some staff members. So if I were you, I'd reach out to your staff before they have to call you. But I only have 3 conversion kits left that I can do this with, as they become a little bit difficult to get, what have you. So with that said, I'm going to finish off with a little Broadway music. There was one of the songs that you saw on there that said Broadway Magic, but I'm going to have a little fun with this one here and kind of do a little Broadway medley for you. And I want to thank you very much. And here we go. Hang tight, because this one's going to kind of have you dancing in your seat there. I'm holding the filling down. Listen to that bass player. I almost want to just stay right there. It's fun. Thank you. The Lowry Symphony, everybody. Woo! Oh, thank you for joining me today.
Thank
I'm
you.
all wrapped up for another hour's worth of playing. So thank you so much. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy, keep playing music, and see you real soon. Order your symphony today.
Bye.